Okay, we use our lathe here. Haven't used it in the new shop here for a while, or the old shop. So I clear all the crap out of the way, it was everywhere. It's kind of dry and gritty. Covered with dirt. Nice. Let's see. Gritty, gritty, gritty. Everything back how it used to be. Stuff's gritty. Everything's been moved for some reason. It's like somebody was playing with the lathe. And all the levers have been dicked with. The feeds are on, feeds aren't on, dials are unadjusted. A lot of stuff going on. Screwing around my machine. Hard to believe. Okay, I did find my dial indicator. So if you put that on the ways against the back of your cross slide, you can tell how much you're cutting accurately. Otherwise you're guessing. So this just sits on your cross slide right here. And then your dial indicator is on the cross slide over there. So you're on the ways of the bed to the cross slide. Now, if you get up right against the edge of the cross slide, sometimes the dial indicator on the magnet on will go back and forth. So you gotta try to put a gap in there. And I got my bit over here. So, let's see, we're going to cut here. So we should be a few thou away. Just touching. Reset your 0. Back it up a couple. Make sure you're not hitting. You hear it? Probably couldn't see it, but it hurt. See the shiny mark right there on the edge? That's where it just cut. Right at 0. Okay, I'm going to cut 10 thou off this thing. 10. Let's go ahead and cut this off. Feed it back. I don't think I showed the cutting going on, but it cut. So you can see how the flat spot is a lot wider now. Okay. Alright, so now we cut 10 on this side, so you can see how it's got a big flat spot on there, and this side here is not very flat. I like having a decent flat spot, so when you got something for the bearing to push against. When you have very little flat spot like this, when you push the bearing, tighten them up real tight, you can actually collapse it a little bit. Which makes it tighter than you want it to be. Which is good if it was really loose, but if you tighten it up, make it nice and tight, then it becomes too tight. Okay, so let's check it again. Should still be loose. It should be a lot closer. It appears to be loose. Scale. Okay, I can measure it again, see how much it changed. think I only got about 10 now. Now Harley says you want to have a couple thou to up to 17 thou, which is basically it's usable right here, but I don't like them this tight. So I think I got about 10 thou in here. So that means I'm going to cut out half, 5 max. Because it'll come up quick. I might not even cut 5, maybe I'll cut 4. So I've cut too much before. So. And I didn't measure this overall width yet to see what I had, so let's go do that too. That's right here. See what we actually really cut. It says we're still at 53, we're at 54, 64 I think before. 52 and a half, 51-ish, 52 and a half. Okay, so I'm going to cut the unmachined side, which would be this side. Make it a little bit fatter. I'm going to cut off a little bit. We were at 38 when we started, so I could probably cut 5 all right, but I don't know. I'm leery about cutting that much in one shot. Be easier than be careful. Cut 4. I don't want to cut too much. So we're up 4 on the dial right now. Okay. Forward is. The other one's wider on this side. So we know where we're at. It doesn't hurt to measure how much you really cut too. So sometimes you cut more than you think you did. We'll see. I'll measure it again before I cut. Alright, let's see what we got. See, I put that workbench just high enough to clear, or shelf just so it clears my fingers. Pre-planned, see? Pre-planned. Ooh, that's close. That's why I didn't cut 5. Barely moving. Right there. If I cut 5, I would have cut too much. So, you see it moving at all? You can hear it move. That's close. It's probably about 3. So if I cut 5, I would have been cut too much. Let's make another one. Only got one more to cut down. That's why you go slow on these. It goes up quick. So you had about 10. I cut 4. I got about 3 left, maybe. So that means it cut double. I mean, it took up double the clearance. So you got to be careful on this stuff. All right. So now we have this minimum dimension. You don't want it any tighter than that because it'll, when you tighten the axle down, it'll get tighter. So be careful. It don't want to come off. Okay, so now Make sure you don't put this one back in. Okay, so now we'll work on that. Next thing I do, I gotta make an eliminate the speedometer drive on this. So I gotta make a spacer to take up where the speedometer drive goes. The book says it's 790 thousandths of the speedometer drive. This spacer is 830. So I gotta knock it down a little bit, but not much. That'd be 40 thou if you can't do math in your head. 790 to 830. That's assuming that's actually what that number is. We'll go measure it. We'll measure this too, see what it was. Those bearings are way different than stock. So, see, China bearings and all balls, China bearings are not the same as Timken. Timken are different. So that's why we have a different spacer now. Okay, so this one here. See, I cut 4. I actually cut 5. Well, it was anywhere from 51 to 52 and a half. So we're at 47 heavy. 47 and a half now. 47 and a half to 47 and a quarter. It's more accurate now than it was because I cut it square. So we cut an extra half thou or thou, but it's square now, which makes a difference. So it's a good thing we didn't overcut that. It'd be a problem. Okay, this one over here is supposed to be 830. So now it really matters what our number is. Clean things off, close them again. Double check and make sure you got a 0 because this you can rotate the dial obviously. It's an old dial style. So it's supposed to be 830. I got 830 and a half. Maybe 3/4. 830 and 3/4. Yeah, see? 5/8 that time. See, they're heavy. Now an axle spacer doesn't make any difference, but on accurate stuff it does. Okay, so I'm going to cut this down. I need to cut it. Looks like it's spinning true. So you don't see any wobbling of it. Looks like it's cutting. Looks like it's pretty true. Look at it from this direction here, and the center hole looks pretty concentric. We're pretty close. And once again, this doesn't have to be that accurate. It's just a spacer. It could be off 20 thou. It doesn't really matter. But I like being accurate. I'm going to cut it all off of one side. Zero. And then slowly and see if the 0 actually is 0. Just cut a little bit. When it was 1 on the dial, it was only hitting a couple of the high spots. When I just cut it within 0, it actually cut some metal off. See the little fine bits on top of that, you can see it. You can see how it's been shaved here a little bit too, see? So that means I actually cut a half a pound. There's our half. See, accuracy is not important, but I like being accurate. It's a challenge to see how close you can actually be to the number you want. Okay, so 830, we want to go to 790, 40 thou. 10. 10. Another 10. Okay. So this metal cuts real nice and clean with this bit. And a really nice finish. So I like that. I'm going to come over here. We can measure it. Oop. Look at that, right on 0. Oop, to get it just right. Wiggle, wiggle. The light might be hurting us, but it's just about there. There it goes. You wiggle it just right, it dropped down. Okay. So I like having a wide axle spacer. It's nice and fat. I like that. So I'm going to spin that around the other side so I can fatten up the other side also. The more surface area, the better. Take that out. So there's a difference between my machining, see how smooth it is, and their machining. When you get it out, you can actually measure it accurately. See, depending on where you're at. Yeah, it looks like I'm about 1 up. Yep. So it's about 1 thou out of straight, and I'm about 1 thou heavy. So I gotta take an extra thou, which means I'll probably cut 1 thou too much now. It's pretty good. Do everything again. So you put your 0 in there. It always cuts a couple thou less than what you think it does because you've got pressure on it right now. You back it off a little bit, crank it up, leave it in a little bit of time until you hear it. Right there, hear it? Back it up 1/2 thou. It's not getting. Give it to 1/2 thou, right there. Here, see how it cuts? 1/2 thou makes a difference. Okay, that smooth things up. Okay, now we got 11 thou to go. Plus that 1/2 I cut. So right there, 10.5. I'm just cranking it by my hand here, so. Okay. That should be 790 on the nut. Okay, how close are we at it? See, now you got a nice fat surface. This machine, it's not as fat as this side because I cut 30 thou off this one, only cut 10 on this one. Ooh, look at that. Half a thou over and 1/2 thou under another spot. Yeah, right there's a little spot. Average is 90. There you go, pretty close. That's how you do an accurate job of cutting spacers. Not that it really matters. Alright, that's it for now.